I can guarantee you there are a lot of battles yet to be won for justice. There are a lot of mountains yet to be climbed to overcome human ignorance and human prejudice. There are many songs yet to be sung in the name of joy and a dedication to all that's good and true and beautiful. I make that commitment to each one of you, not as a sign of accomplishment done, but maybe as a dream and a hope of things yet to be done.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hour 6 of Notre Dame Day 2015. You're catching us at a great time. A few hours ago, times 3, about 5 hours and 18 minutes ago, we started a 29-hour global celebration of all things Notre Dame. So far, we've told some very impressive stories of Notre Dame students, alumni, parents, friends, and fans from across the globe, and we have more to come in just a few minutes. Now, my name's Jack Nolan, and I'll be one of your anchors this hour. I'm in my, well, I hate to admit this, 33rd year. I'm glad I've been able to do it this long. I just don't feel this old. 33rd year covering Notre Dame athletics, and currently serve as Director of Media Productions for Fighting Irish Digital Media, who you can vote for. We're going to tell you how.
Well, 33 years just means you have all the knowledge. So fantastic job. It's a lot of research.
I keep telling my wife that, but she never agrees with me.
Very committed. Nicely done.
Thank you.
If you're a returning viewer, welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us. You're just now joining the fun. We hope you'll stay tuned for all of the outstanding stories we have to share this hour. So thank you so much. I'm a 2005 graduate. Every time I come back to this campus, it feels like I'm coming home. Notre Dame kind of runs in my blood. My brother and sister-in-law graduated in 2007.
And you and your brother were here together.
2 years we overlapped, yes. He was a very popular young man. Many times I walk on campus and I'm still Adam's sister, so it'll never go away. I'm also Dr. David Wellner's daughter. He graduated in '74. He was watching tonight at some point. He's probably asleep right now, but just in case, hey, Dad. I was here last year for Notre Dame Day, actually, and you were here too, right?
Yes, for 9 hours last year.
9 hours, wow, nicely done. I don't think I had
And they still raised money, even though I was on for 9 hours.
Well, they must have done well, because they brought you back.
Well, I think they said if the more money people gave, they could get rid of me.
Oh.
So we raised a lot of money last year. No, I had a blast last year at the first ever Notre Dame Day, and I just had to come back to be part of this new Notre Dame tradition once again. And I got to speak to an admiral on an aircraft carrier last hour. That was really, really cool. And some of my old friends like Brady Quinn and Golden Tate. I mean, we really have had some great stories, and we have a lot more great stories lined up for you.
That's right, Jack. And first, we'll be chatting with some of Notre Dame's most prominent student leaders. Later, we'll see what some international Notre Dame students from Ireland are up to this semester, and we'll welcome 2 of Notre Dame's rectors. So we also have a live performance from the Voices of Faith Choir on the docket, as well as an intense competition brewing between 2 sets of rival dorms. And beyond all of the great stories we'll be telling here today, we have some really exciting stuff going on. We'll be giving away $1 million over the course of this broadcast. You heard me right, folks. That's $1 million. And as Jack mentioned earlier, he has some ideas of where that $1 million can go.
I mean, the coolest part is that you, our viewers, have total control of how that money will be distributed. Each time you log on to notredame.nd.edu and donate $10 or more, you'll be given 5 votes, which you can use as you please. Now, my 5 votes went to Fighting Irish Digital Media. The total votes cast during our Notre Dame Day broadcast for student clubs, residence halls, the academy, and so forth will determine what percentage of the $1 million those groups will receive. So that means that your $10 gift could possibly end up having an impact totaling $100 or more, and everybody who is voted for gets something out of this.
Well, that's really exciting, and we think we've repeated this at the top of every hour, and one of these times the math is going to add up to me, but anytime you can multiply $10 into 100 is a good thing as far as I'm concerned. So the more votes you cast for your favorite academic unit, hall, team, or other organization during Notre Dame Day, the higher the portion of the $1 million they get, right?
Scott Malpass has probably figured this out.
I was not a finance major.
He's very good at multiplying dollars and has done such a great job with the Notre Dame Endowment. Now, you are correct, Abby. So let's take a moment to not only encourage folks to get online and vote, but to give a shout out to those of you who have already done so. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so excited to see how things pan out over the next 23 hours, is it now? So let's get started. We have a Notre Dame Day reporter on campus right now at a dorm that raises money for a charity in a unique and tasty way. How's it going, Laura?
It's going great. Thanks, Abby. I'm here at Zom Hall with a couple of zombies, Melchior and Nick. And tell us what you're doing here tonight.
Well, tonight we're making za for the dorm of Zom House. We're open 7 days a week from 10 to 1 a.m. during the week and 12 to 2 a.m. on weekends. We're always up late for students who are studying or guys in the house who are in the common rooms or out back in the basement working on their latest stuff. Our slices are $1.25 each. Our 16 inches, which this is right here, are $10, and then we have 12 inches for $6 in the back, and we also have a bunch of drinks. The money that we raise from ZA goes to charity every year, and we use that to support various charities in their respective work.
All right, awesome. And I'm curious, how many pizzas do you go through a night?
We go about 15. We have also pizza bagels that we sell, which are a pretty hot commodity, and we go through about 10 of those every night too.
All right, and can you explain kind of what charities that this money will go to this year? Do you know?
Well, the charity that we sent our profits to last year closed down, so we're looking for new charities this year. We have a couple options right now. We're looking at the Catholic Worker here in South Bend, Special Olympics, and we're also looking at the Robinson Community Learning Center.
And how much money did you guys raise last year?
Last year, we raised a record amount of $4,000. We had a very interesting year. We changed over to donor dollars for our financial system, and we were a little bit more efficient with our work last year, so we raised a lot more than we usually did.
All right, sounds awesome. Well, I think I'm going to have to try some of this pizza to see if it's the real deal. So here we go. It looks like it's pepperoni and sausage, and it's fresh out of the oven. So here we go. Yeah, that's good. I would say you guys should all come here and get a piece and donate to charity, and definitely worth your time. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks, Laura. I am joined now by two of the most powerful people on the Notre Dame campus, two outstanding student leaders, the student body president, Brian Ricketts, to my left here, and next to him is the student body vice president, Nydia Relis. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Talk a little bit about what went into your deciding to run for and then become the two top student leaders on campus.
Sure. It was a long process. You think about what are the student needs on campus, and what could I be best doing to help meet those needs. And I think for me, in talking to other students, this seemed like a great place to help make Notre Dame a better place.
Now, I know that there's a joke in the U.S. government that the vice president doesn't do much, but I know that's not the case in student government. So talk about your responsibilities.
Well, some of my responsibilities, probably the biggest responsibility that I have, is that I am the chairperson of Senate. So the Student Senate is a big voice on campus in terms of representing the various dorms on campus and bringing the different perspectives of the students that they serve. So they bring those kinds of ideas to Senate, and we hold discussions and pass resolutions that either amend the Constitution or express the kind of need that they want us in office to address.
Now, you just took office the beginning of the month, but the election was earlier this semester. How close was the election?
We won by about 10 percentage points, but the other team was a great team as well. So.
Now, is this something you foresee doing after you graduate? Are you two going to start, and I shouldn't say politicians because it has a bad connotation, but a lifetime of community service?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to get involved in public policy when I leave here. I think it's a great place to make a difference.
Madam Vice President?
I agree. I think that we're both definitely going to stay involved because it's something that we're both very passionate about. That's something that became very evident during the campaign and into these first few months, both in transition and taking office. So,
now, you ran as a ticket.
Yes.
So what were the leading issues that you campaigned on?
Okay. So one of the main leading issues that we campaigned on is really to gather more student buy-in in terms of creating student active bystanders against sexual assault. Another big issue that was huge on our platform was diversity and inclusion and making sure that we ensure that we're doing our best to make sure that this is an inclusive campus to everybody. We talk about the Notre Dame community. We really want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable with that. And Brian can talk about a couple of initiatives that we have coming up that are new.
Yeah, so one of the new frontiers in student affairs is really mental health. What are we doing to support our students in a place that's very, there's a lot of stress. So we've been very grateful here at Notre Dame to have endowed newly the McDonald Center for Student Wellbeing. It's got a great leader named Kelly Hogan, really taking the place to whole new levels in terms of how we're looking at our students' needs. And from the student government side, we also created our own Department of Health and Wellness. We've got a great guy, Rohit Fonseca, who's leading that for us, and focusing on certainly the prevention side, as in where are sources of student stress, and from that, how can we address them? Looking sort of externally, structurally, how are we making time for students, but also internally, where am I making time for myself, where am I making time for my faith, things like that. And then treatment. If things don't go well, if you have a chronic depression, we're working with our University Counseling Center to make sure students have adequate resources.
Now, you talked about being inclusive, and normally people think that that's gender or ethnicity. But when I was reading some of your campaign literature, and I found this very interesting, you talk about economic inclusion. Now, I've been here since 1982. The student body as a whole is much wealthier now than it used to be. There's a lot of very wealthy students on campus, but not everybody is very wealthy, and that can create issues when some students can do things that other students can't from a financial basis. And I know that's something you're both looking at.
Right, definitely. We're looking at the Rector Fund, which is a wonderful fund that particularly helps students that can't afford to do certain things like go to football games to get their tickets. One of the other things, the other sides that we're looking at is need in terms of academics, like should there be a fund for books, and that's something that we're really pushing forward, especially for students that don't even have the resources to buy their books for classes.
And that if they don't, that can create tremendous stress.
Exactly.
And it's already stressful enough to be here, because I've heard it's kind of competitive.
Yes,
Absolutely.
definitely.
And honestly, everybody at home can make a difference. If you go out and buy the shirt, the proceeds from that support this Rector Fund. So we really appreciate that.
And it's a really cool shirt this
Yes.
year.
Oh, it's great.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you both for the time, and
you.
thank you for
Thank you,
stepping
sir.
up and taking on this responsibility.
Thank
And good luck in your terms.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll be back with much more of this hour of ND Day right after this short timeout.
Mick Barnes is a retired oil worker, a Korean War veteran, and a poet. He's been married to his wife Alice for 50 years. Mick is dying of emphysema, and his dream is to have one last family reunion where he can read his poetry to his children and grandchildren. They're spread out all over the country, and because they can't all afford to travel, he hasn't seen them in over 3 years. So what do we think, guys? Is this a dream we can make come true?
Notre Dame sophomore Caitlin Crommett is the founder of Dreamcatchers, a volunteer organization that works with hospice caregivers to fulfill the dreams of terminally ill patients. Caitlin started the program at the age of 15.
I started Dreamcatchers because I saw how all too often the elderly are overlooked by our society. These are the people who have shaped our communities and raised us, and I really believe that all of one's life, especially the end, is something to be cherished and celebrated.
Over the past year, Caitlin has expanded Dreamcatchers to 25 programs in 10 states through the support of Notre Dame's Hesburgh USCO Scholars Program, a merit-based scholarship that provides mentorship and resources to a group of visionary undergraduates.
What makes the Hesburgh USCO program distinctive is that we place a heavy emphasis on service. Our program is based on the core belief that each person can truly make a difference.
Okay, I call this my hometown. It's a little old town dependent on oil, acres of sagebrush on alkali soil, quaint little houses primarily. It was really a night that I'll always remember, always. Makes me feel truly blessed.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to develop great leaders.
We are the Fighting Irish.
Welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm joined now by Rebecca Fang, a Notre Dame international student from China who came here not alone, but with her twin sister, though you live in different dorms, right?
That's right.
So you have a little bit of separation. Thanks so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit, Rebecca, you're a sophomore now. Tell us what brought you to Notre Dame all the way from China.
Right. I know that Notre Dame is a Catholic university, and actually when I applied, I know that, but I didn't mind that, and I actually thought that was such a new experience because I definitely know nothing about Catholicism at all. So I thought, yeah, that's cool. That's why I applied.
Oh, that's really interesting. And
Yeah.
did you inspire your sister, or did she get you to?
She followed my example.
She did. Would she say
Yes.
the same thing if she were sitting here right now?
Probably, yes.
All right, well then, you know you're telling the truth. All right, well tell us a little bit. You are you're a business major, finance?
Yes.
All right.
I am accounting and English double major.
Well, we were talking a little bit ago, you said your sister was a completely different major. If you are an arts and letters major, everything in the business finance world kind of blends together for the rest of us, so I apologize.
It's fine.
Tell me a little bit about what projects you have done as an undergrad here at Notre Dame.
Right. I've done some research projects and a lot of drawing projects, but I think my favorite project is definitely just going to L'Arche, which is a organization for people with and without intellectual disabilities to live together. And there's a community that I went to, and I think I'm pretty devoted into.
This was part of your summer learning experience, is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Okay. And what inspired you to get involved with that?
It's actually really random. So it was during one spring seminar, spring break, and then I thought, because this organization is located in DC, and I thought, yeah, DC is kind of cool. So that's initially the reason why I went there. But I spent 1 week in L'Arche, and then I just realized that during that week I was really, really, really happy, and I didn't know why. So I thought, yeah, it might be fun if I just go back and figure out why. And I went back during the summer, and it was 2 months, and I think I figured out why.
All right, and you had such an amazing project. You mentioned it's the idea is connecting physically limited individuals with those who are more able-bodied. What exactly is the goal of the program?
I think for me, I don't know exactly what's the goal of the summer service learning program as a whole is to, I guess, expose students to people who are more marginalized in the society. And for me personally, that program really allows me to slow down because life at Notre Dame is so busy, it's just deadlines after deadlines, and I guess it really allows me to slow down, and every day is just about 3 meals and sleep. And at the very beginning I was so scared because I have nothing to do, and but then I figured out it really gives me time to, I guess, give love and accept love from people with intellectual disabilities. It's hard to do so because I previously thought that they would be lower than me, but then so it's really hard to, I guess, accept love from people who you previously thought to be lower than you. But that experience really humbled me.
Well, and it really changed your perspective, obviously, and I understand you now hope to bring this model back to China at some point?
Yes. It is a huge dream, and I really, because L'Arche is an international organization, and I thought, but L'Arche doesn't really have even one community in China, and I'm from China, so I thought it'll be wonderful if I can bring back L'Arche to China and to not just help people with intellectual disabilities in China, but also help people like me in China, because it's such a mutual learning environment for me. I learned so much from them. So.
What a great goal. Thanks so much, Rebecca, and thanks for joining us so late on a study night, and we can now say morning on a school day.
Oh,
so
yes.
Thank you very much, and we're going to head now to Laura.
Thanks, Abby. I'm here with Voices of Faith, Notre Dame's gospel choir, and joining me now is Katie Jackson, the club's vice president. Katie, can you tell me a little bit about this club?
Yes, we are a faith-based, student-run organization. We've been a club at Notre Dame since 1977. As you can see, we're of very diverse cultural backgrounds and religious backgrounds. And we all, come together just to spread God's word and share the goodness and greatness.
Awesome. And what will you guys be singing for us tonight?
We're going to be singing What If God by Christopher Brunson.
All right, take it away.
What if God is unhappy with our praise? What if He is not pleased with the words we say? What if He takes away His love and His Spirit
so much. Now back to you, Abby.
Thanks so much, Laura. Welcome back upstairs. We are now joined by 3 students who can consider themselves our really Irish students. We're here in hour 6 now of Notre Dame Day, and we are thrilled to introduce the real Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Owen is in the middle.
Yep.
Luke.
Yep.
And Jack. I have to introduce you that way because that's how I was introduced and I can't keep it straight otherwise. But we're going to start on this end, mix things up. Okay. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves? We'll start with the name, repeat it so that we can keep straight who everybody is, and then where you're from in Ireland and what dorm you're in now.
Okay, my name is Luke Muldoon, and I'm from Donegal in Ireland. That's way up north. And I moved to the Caribbean when I was like 13, but I still go back every summer, and my house is still there, and I go back all the time. And
it's a little warmer there.
Oh, much warmer. It's very different, yeah. And I came here, and I'm in Zam with the other fellas.
All right.
Hey, I'm Owen. That's Owen for the second time.
Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate it.
I'm a sophomore here, physics major. I live in Zam as well. All 3 of us live in Zam.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah. I swam in high school and tried it out here for a little bit. Found it too taxing on my time.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
With a lot of other kind of things
There's
going on.
There's a lot of fun to be had outside of that pool.
Yeah. I did boxing this year. That's a brief summary on me.
All right.
I'm Jack. I'm a sophomore too, accounting and economics major, and we're roommates, so we both live in Zam together.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, there's not much more to it.
All right, fantastic. Well, we'll start. We'll direct these questions now that we all know your names. I can direct them exactly where they need to go. Owen, tell me a little bit about how you're going to have to speak for all 3 of you. No pressure or anything. But most students, when they're looking at college options, they don't look across international waters. What inspired you to come to Notre Dame?
Well, I feel like there were several reasons actually. First of all, I feel like the standard of education on offer here in the U.S., but particularly in Notre Dame, is on a standard which we cannot really find in Ireland. I mean, we do have good colleges, but the standard of education on offer here is really good. Secondly, there was obviously the whole kind of sense of adventure and getting away and kind of breaking the status quo. A lot of my friends went to the same maybe 3 or 4 colleges, so I feel like I was kind of doing something different, I guess. And also, I'm pretty far away from my parents right now, so that also adds to the whole adventure
It's harder to get in trouble.
Right.
It certainly is when you're across an ocean.
Yeah.
Luke, is it weird to tell your friends back home you're cheering for the Fighting Irish?
Yeah, so when I tell them I'm going for the Fighting Irish and stuff, they're like, well, you're from Ireland, but and sometimes I don't know what the Fighting Irish is, but generally the consensus is that the Fighting Irish, being at the school as it is, it's quite famous, Notre Dame, and especially that they played football in Dublin and everything. Mm-hmm. And so when you actually say that you do go and play or you go to the school, then they're like, oh wow, it's fantastic and stuff, and they're definitely on par with the Fighting Irish because they're Irish and we're, yeah, so.
I had to actually go to that football game in Dublin a few years back,
really?
And it was incredible. And the people of Ireland were so unbelievably welcoming to us. It was so cool. Yeah. Jack, what do you tell your friends back home about the Notre Dame experience? What's the real highlight for you to talk about?
My biggest highlight here is probably life in my dorm. I love the community we have in Zam, and I think Owen lived in Kiel his freshman year. I pulled him in, and then when I talked to Luke before he kind of decided to come here, and said, if you come here, I'll pull you into Zam, because he stayed with us on his visit, and I think I love it. It's a great community, and it definitely made the transition in a lot easier, because making the decision to come to America, it's a big decision, and then coming to the Fighting Irish, it's an Irish Catholic school, so that makes it a little easier, but having that kind of ready-made community where you go in and there's kind of a group there and everybody's accepting, it definitely made my transition a lot easier. So that's been a big highlight for me, and I think I have a lot of fun in Zam too. So I definitely have some good stories to tell people back home.
No zombie has ever been for a lack of stories, that's for sure. Oh, and anything you miss about about Ireland?
Yeah, no, there's a lot I miss. Certainly number one is my friends, and I think, yeah, I mean, obviously, the relationships I built growing up, having to leave all of them. At the same time, I feel like a lot of my friends did have to kind of part ways when they did go to college, but I guess mine was just more of an abrupt and almost final kind of change. You know what I mean?
And have you decided how final it's going to be? Will you stay here after college, or are you planning on going back home?
I've no idea what I'm going to do. I am 2 years in and still none the wiser,
I
unfortunately.
think I changed my major 6 times, and the 6th one didn't come until junior year, so you got lots of time, no worries. Luke, any big differences between American students and Irish students?
Not to like rag on anyone, but like I think the sense of humor.
But do it anyway.
The sense of humor is just a wee bit different here, and it's just, you know, I can joke with these lads like differently than I can with like some of my American friends sometimes, but honestly it's just like a different culture, and then like just having a great experience with like just everyone really is just like having fun, because like it gets boring with them, so you just have to be with the Americans sometimes.
All right, well, thanks so much. We'll leave it on that
No problem.
note. We appreciate your time here tonight and staying up so late into the morning hours with us. You guys are great for doing that, and we're going to send it downstairs to Laura.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Abby. We're back at the performance stage for another round of Heads Up Trivia, this time with contestants from McGlynn Hall and Baden Hall. So let's meet our contestants.
Oh, I'm Megan Thedwall. I'm a senior, and my major is chemical engineering.
I'm Casey Gelchin from Baden. I'm a sophomore studying accounting and theology.
I'm Corinne Sullivan. I'm a sophomore from Baden studying economics and peace studies.
I'm Kate Kreinkamp. I'm a senior from McGlynn, and I'm studying civil engineering.
Awesome, and McGlynn's gonna take the stage first, so you guys step up to your mics. We'll hand the iPad over, and let's see how McGlynn does. They have their mascot here today, the Shamrock, so they got some good crowd support. You can go ahead and put that up. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, okay. She was Secretary of State.
Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah. Okay. This is a girls' dorm on West Quad. That's not.
Walsham?
No, not
Ryan.
Yeah. Okay, this is where Kala has her studio.
Bond Hall.
Yeah. Skip. Okay, this is where we play football.
The stadium.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, this is connected to Stanford.
Keenan.
Yeah. This is the movie about a guy who comes here and he's not very good at football. Yes. Oh, okay, the other girls' West Quad dorm.
Walsham.
Yeah. Skip. Oh, okay, not St. Joseph's Lake, but...
St. Mary's Lake.
Yeah.
All right, 5 seconds.
At North Dining Hall, they have this, and it's really popular by the Italian side. They have
Make
it
your
at
own
South.
pizza.
Yes.
Got it. Just in the nick of time. All right, time is up. Great job from the ladies from McGlynn. Now, Baden, it's your turn. Let's see if you can beat that score. Remember, the winning team gets a prize for their dorm. So McGlynn got 8 correct. So now you guys have 60 seconds to try and beat that, all right? Put it up there. And here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Here, Candy Wall.
LaFun, the Huddle.
He just passed away.
Father Hesburgh.
Best Dining Hall.
South Dining Hall.
Connected to Keenan.
Stanford Hall.
Prayer Grotto. Oh, okay, no. Megan studies there. Annalisa. What
Jordan
they're
Hall.
Yes. Moose, guys' dorm.
Zom.
Katie lives there.
Pangborn.
They just revealed it today.
The Shirt.
Pass. Week that just happened.
Wait
T-shirts.
week.
T-shirts, fun things last week of classes.
And Tostel.
Win one for the Gipper. Where we are right now.
LaFun.
All right, time is up. That was really good job there. Let's see, what did the Baden Hall Bullfrogs? Yes, Baden Hall Bullfrogs get? Whoa, 11. So that's 3 more than McGlynn. I'm sorry, guys, but you put up a good fight. So they'll get the prize for their dorm. Now back to you, Jack.
Laura? Thank you very much, Laura. I'm joined now by 2 individuals who are on the front lines of what Notre Dame does so uniquely and so well. residence life. Welcome to Katie Patterson, Notre Dame class of 2010, the rector of Lewis Hall, and Rick Mazzei, Notre Dame class of 1978, the rector of Fisher Hall. Thanks to both of you for staying up late, but as rectors, I'm sure you stay up late all the time.
That's right, this is normal.
Okay, Katie, now you are an educator, fairly recent graduate. You taught for 3 years. This is your second year as a rector. What drew you back to be a rector?
You know, when I was in the field of education, I started as a teacher in order to help form students, and teaching gets busy. So when this opportunity came up, I felt like it was a great way to remain in the field of education, transition into higher ed, and really work with student development.
Now, Rick, you are a little unusual. I mean, you both represent non-religious rectors. A lot of people just assume that all of the rectors are religious, particularly priests or sisters or whatnot, and neither one of you are that. But you are coming off a 30-year career as an educator and a coach in high schools all around the state of Massachusetts. What drew you to switch gears a bit and come back and do this at this point in your life?
No, I think it really came down to my love of Notre Dame. You know, I went here and, you know, I love Notre Dame. I love what the school stood for. When this opportunity came up to maybe change my career a little bit, going from high school to coming to college, it was like coming home again. And I was just so excited to have the chance to, you know, be with college-age students and maybe make me feel young again.
What is it like for you at this point in your life to live in a dorm again?
It's noisy, it's full of life, they're great young men, they keep you active, you don't know what problems or what great joys they're going to bring you each and every day, so just it's fulfilling, and I really just enjoy being part of that community.
Katie, I imagine the transition was a little bit easier for you because you just lived in a dorm 5 years ago, 4 years ago when you had come back, but explain a little bit what, I mean, most universities, they have RAs, but here, a rector's much more than just an RA. Talk about what your responsibilities are.
Yeah, so we very much see this role as a ministry. I get to know my women, my women get to know me. We share life together, so I'm there to celebrate and when they do really well, and I'm there to give some encouragement when things don't go as well. And so I think that's what makes us distinct, is that we encourage our RAs to take or to view this as a ministry and really be present to the women that we serve.
And certainly, I mean, and that's the big part of Notre Dame education, and I like to refer to it as good. It teaches people how to be good, not just learn stuff, but to lead good lives. How can you help that?
I think you have to be a role model. I think you have to be willing to share your life with them and your story with them. I think you have to accept when some things go wrong and try to talk to them about it, but usually just try to share your life with them and share their joys, their happiness, and actually have some fun with it too. So I think that's what makes it such an exciting vocation.
Well, and you have to earn their trust too. I mean, they have to feel comfortable coming to you, because I think part of being in college is pushing the limits, making mistakes, and then trying to fix those mistakes, and you can help that way. How do you earn that trust?
You know, it is a lot of reaching out to the students. Part of it is simply being available for them to reach out to me, but it's a lot of time very intentionally getting to know them, learning their names quickly when they move into the dorm, or spending time just roaming around the dorm, being interested in what they're interested in. So attending their performances or their sports games and really investing in them.
Rick, I got to ask, I mean, have you found, how unique are you? Is this just my idea that you're unique? Are there many like you before or now?
Well, Ed Mack was the longtime rector at O'Neill Hall. I think he was there 11 years, and he came from high school and a long high school career to come back. You know, I think it's, if you have that love for education, I think it's just, you just listen to a call and you come, and I couldn't be happier. It's just a great experience being at Fisher. You know, we just came off the big regatta, and that's why I have no voice. But it's, you know, I don't know if it's unique. I think we all have different experiences as rectors, and I think that's what makes the cohort of rectors so nice. It's religious, non-religious, young, old, and it's a good community of rectors that we really enjoy each other, and that makes a good spirit about us too.
Well, and you're making me almost tear up a bit because you're making me feel like I'm at home. A lot of people know I'm from the Boston area, so I lost the accent, but when I get tired, it comes
still
out.
have it.
But thank both of you for representing an aspect of Notre Dame that a lot of people who don't go to Notre Dame don't understand. When you think of college, you think of professors, a Catholic university, you think of priests, but they don't realize how important and how integrated the rectors are to the overall experience, and I think you've both represented that well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And right now, we are going to take a brief break, but don't go away. We have a lot more. We're going to go all the way through the night. Now, beginning at 1 o'clock, we're going to replay the first 6 hours. So if you missed any of that, we'll be live again at 7, but we still have about 20 minutes to go live here right now. So we'll be back with more right after this.
My ancestors were brought here as slaves, and I grew up under apartheid, where the color of one's skin still determined the value of one's life. I spoke out against it and was thrown in jail. In prison, there was people of different religious backgrounds, Christians, Muslims, Jews, and during this very difficult times when we were being tortured, we used to share with each other prayers. For me, that was a sign that God's Spirit dwells in all of us. And it made me believe that one of the ways of fighting apartheid was not merely to cross cultural divides, but also religious divides.
After his release from prison in 1976, Rashid Omar became an interfaith leader in the nonviolent struggle against apartheid.
Our country nearly did go up in flames. And it is due to people like Rashid that we pulled back from the edge of the precipice.
Today, Rashid Omar continues his work as an interreligious peace builder, both as a Muslim imam in his native South Africa and as a peace studies scholar at the University of Notre Dame's Kroc Institute.
What I try to impart to my students is that there's no way that a peace builder can go out into the world without understanding how religion contributes towards conflict and violence, and more importantly, how religion also can be a resource for building peace.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting for peace among religions.
We are the Fighting Irish.
Welcome back. Joining me now is a representative from the Notre Dame Club of India. She's on the phone or on Skype. I'm not sure which. I'll have to double check that. And before I even ask names on Skype, I've been told, I have to ask, what time is it in India?
It's about 10 in the morning.
10:10 in the morning. Okay, so you're not tired. You're just starting your day.
That's right.
All right. Well, now we can get around to names. All right. Can you give us your introductions and what year you guys graduated?
I'm Ishira Kumar. I graduated 07 and I studied film and television.
And I'm Dheeraj Mehra, class of 1996. My major was marketing and computer applications.
That's fantastic. And so what took you back to India or took you over to India to start your careers?
Well, I lived in India all my life. The only 4 years I was out was when I studied at Notre Dame, came back to my own business, and have been here since. And
I lived in LA after graduation for 5 years and moved back a couple of years ago to just come back home and settle down here.
5 years in LA was enough, right?
That's also true.
So tell us a little bit about the Notre Dame Club of India. How many members do you all have?
we are a relatively small club. We've got about 80 members on board. Not everyone is active. About 15 to 20 of us do tend to meet when we do have events.
Football season.
Yes. It's a fun group, though. We do know each other pretty well.
Tell us a little bit about those events. What kind of events do you guys have? I assume game watches.
We do have game watches. We have lunches where networking lunches where we do tend to meet up with each other. We have dinners and drinks, which of course I shouldn't say online, but we do.
Oh, sure, it's fine.
And we are having our first service project this year in memory of Father Ted, which should be later in the year, maybe in a few months down the line.
It's really great to know that his example and the model that he set is spread around the globe. What kind of service project is it going to be in his honor?
We are debating between two options. One is working with a school, it's something to do with education, and the second is a service project, religion related, so maybe at a church. Our team is still coming up with the final decision on which one to go with.
And you both said your lives have been primarily in India, but with your 4 years at Notre Dame, what did you take from this experience that you took back to India and that you carry with you today?
I mean, I think I made some of the best friends I will ever make, ever. And it was, for me, I think coming to Notre Dame, I didn't feel out of place even one day. I settled in from the moment I got there, and I had an amazing time and made memories that will stay with me for eternity.
I agree with Ishira on this. The best friends I have today are my friends from Notre Dame. Even though I live in India, I'm in touch with them. A lot of them are around the world now, from Hong Kong to the US. But they're still one of the closest friends I still have.
And it's so easy to touch now. I mean, especially through things like Skype. It doesn't matter that we're so far away. It still feels like you can talk to them and see them as much as you want.
Yeah, Skype and FaceTime have really changed the way we all communicate. And probably is the answer, the friends answer is probably what you're going to respond to my next question. But can each of you tell me what the best part of the Notre Dame experience was for you?
So definitely the friends. I mean, Notre Dame was home, and it still feels like home every time I go back. Despite all the changes and the fact that I don't recognize a lot of the campus, it still feels like home. And I think to have that place forever is something very special.
I'd add one more thing to that is football.
Yes.
A good addition, most definitely. And you're right, I completely agree. The place has changed a great deal, but it still feels like home every time you walk back on campus. And I think any alum would say the same thing. Thank you both so much for spending the morning with us where you are. I guess it's the morning here, too. We're going to wrap up here and head back over to Jack. Jack, what do you have for us?
All right, Abby, thank you very, very much. And I am honored to be joined now by Notre Dame Campus Security Officer Kelly Lamberson. She is part of what is affectionately known here at Notre Dame as the Quad Squad. You work the night shift.
Correct.
And you're basically here to keep everybody safe.
Yes.
So tell me what your duties entail. How is your shift different from, say, the day shift?
Oh, how is it different? We basically do the same job, but as a residence hall officer, we are one-on-one with the dorms. We have 4 officers on duty at a time. The 29 dorms are split 4 ways, and we respond to all the calls in that area, make sure that the doors are secure, interact with hall staff and students.
So do you make regular rounds all night?
All night.
So are you constantly on the move? Are you in the security building at some point, or are you just basically going from dorm to dorm?
Security building for initial roll call and then lunch, but that's about it.
Now, how long have you been a Quad Squad member?
I was one of the initial ones. I was here for 2.5 years before that as a security officer, and then they designed the Quad Squad Residence Hall Patrol position, and that was in 2004.
What is your relationship like with the students? How do they respond to you?
Oh, I love the students. I try and get a rapport with them one-on-one. I try and remember names so that I can greet them, make them comfortable so that they know they can come to me anytime with anything, whether it be good or bad.
I mean, because really, the main part of your job is to keep the students safe.
Correct.
What kinds of advice do you give students? Because part of college is pushing the limit. Part of college is letting off steam, partying and whatnot, and sometimes getting into situations where, let's be honest, college students have a tendency to drink a little, where their decision-making skills may be altered at some point, and they may make bad decisions. How do you help in that area?
Well, if it's a medical response, I make sure that that situation's taken care of. I usually touch base with them the next day and go over what happened, what's probably going to end up happening, but know that it's a mistake and they can get through it.
Now, it's not all serious. I know you have a great relationship with the students, and I know you've probably been in some unusual situations, some of which may be humorous. Do you have any humorous stories you can relay?
Probably not
Not
one that I would
live.
would
Yes.
like to tell.
But you've been in some interesting situations.
Definitely. I would like to add the most memorable time that I've ever had on campus actually happened last year in May. We responded, my Lieutenant Stefan, Officer Jamie, and myself responded to a female at the University Village, which is a married community in active labor. And Officer Jamie and I delivered a baby.
That had to be terrific.
It was amazing.
And you yourself, and I don't believe you, but you tell me you're a grandmother.
Yes, I am, of
you're
3.
You're the mom of 3 as well?
Correct.
And the oldest now is in high school, but you've
No,
been
the
doing
oldest is out of high school.
Oh, it's now out of high school.
Yes.
So they're out. But they were young. You've been doing this 13 years.
Correct.
So you and your husband juggled this schedule. You've worked nights, he's worked days. And
correct.
It seems very difficult to me, but obviously you have figured out a way to make it work.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
you wouldn't want to change it at all. Huh?
Not at all. I love my position.
All right. Well, thank you. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for what you do.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. So right now, as you know, one of the other things that students do a lot, and we all do now, is social media. And yes, we have a Notre Dame Day social media lounge right downstairs. So let's go down there to check out how the social media world is treating Notre Dame Day this year.
Thanks so much. We're back here once again in the Social Media Lounge. My name is Jonathan. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're approaching 1 a.m. On the East Coast. Big thanks to everyone watching. Big thanks to everyone on our amazing team here. I mean, it's been such a team effort putting Notre Dame Day together once again this year. So many men and women working late hours into the night, not just tonight, but for weeks and months leading up to this. They certainly deserve our recognition and our thanks this evening. Also, thanks to all of you, 6,772 gifts. Just an unbelievable number when you think that we got 4,000 gifts for the entirety of Notre Dame Day in 2014. So a huge thank you. Again, tomorrow's going to be a huge day in terms of activating those networks around you, those family and friends, maybe guys you went to high school with that are also Notre Dame grads, people in your communities, maybe there's folks in your parish that are big Notre Dame fans and have always wanted to be able to get involved with the university somehow. Now is going to be the time to activate those groups towards the areas that you love the most to help distribute that $1 million challenge fund. To update you on some of the leaderboards, we talked a few hours ago about the Notre Dame Alumni Association, Notre Dame clubs, and their involvement with Notre Dame Day. For your local Notre Dame club, it's their scholarship that can be the recipient of the $1 million challenge fund. So for instance, the Notre Dame Club of Orange County is our #1 Alumni Association club right now. They have 154 gifts. If the competition ended right now, they would have $6,000 strictly for local men and women who are going to be attending the university. It's an amazing way to have an impact in Notre Dame in your local community. Notre Dame Club of Miami has been so strong on social media. They put together an unbelievable video. They're performing really well. It just goes to show, if you're out there on social media, if you're communicating with your constituents, if you're telling amazing stories, it's anybody's game, and we're just getting started. We have an incredibly long day tomorrow. Los Angeles has been there. You saw a few of their examples that my colleague Sarah went through a few hours ago. They've done some really funny stuff, kind of needling the Trojans. Notre Dame Club of Denver, our Black Alumni Diversity Group, has had 76 votes so far. Colorado Springs, our own local club of St. Joe Valley has 70, and our international alumni programs have 65 votes. So certainly among the clubs, it's very close. There's still a ton of time left. A lot of that $1 million is at stake. And let's take it over to Mickey now, because things are still happening on social media. Isn't that right, Mickey?
They certainly are, Jonathan. Thanks so much. And as Jonathan said, we've got a great team here working literally around the clock for Notre Dame Day. But I'd also like to give a shout out just to all of you logging in, watching the broadcast. We just had one of the most heartwarming emails come in about a family that had gathered together tonight to watch the stories on NotreDameDay.nd.edu. It's inspiring. This is what the Notre Dame family is all about. This hour, we had a variety of things, voices of faith. We had a few Irish students share with us just about the spirit of Notre Dame and some very nostalgic memories of that wonderful and epic game that we all experienced in Dublin a couple of years ago. We also had an opportunity to vote for your favorite photo, your favorite Irish tradition. Again, the jig performed by the students or the victory clog by the Irish Guard. Here's the deal with this one, friends. 50-50. It's in the race Both are at a dead pace here of 50% each. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep this one open. Again, you have the opportunity over the course of the evening into the morning hours here. Get on and vote for your favorite Irish tradition on NotreDameDay.nd.edu. And when you join us back live in the morning, we're going to announce the winner of this photo poll. For now, let's take a brief look at the social media networks right now. As Jonathan mentioned, there are two things continuing to trend. One is the residence halls and their race to the end here in terms of which residence hall is going to get the most votes. The other thing that is trending quite significantly are those alumni clubs out there. We love to see this. We just saw that the Club of Cincinnati just got a brand new Twitter feed. So get on there, share your love of your local alumni club, and let's get those votes up. You can see here we continue. Alumni Hall continues to get votes out there. There's been a lot of activity around the various vocal groups that have been performing throughout the evening and how proud those vocal groups are. The students, but also the parents of these students. Wonderfully talented students that have been on performing on Notre Dame Day so far, and their parents and their loved ones are getting on and filling those Facebook and Twitter feeds with that pride. So we encourage you again. We've got another 24 hours here to go, folks. Get on, mobilize, activate those groups, and let's get those votes in for your love of Notre Dame. Let's take one final look here at the map as we conclude our live broadcast tonight. As you can see, we've had a ton of activity here in North America. Here's what we'd like to challenge you so far for tonight. We're going to end the live broadcast here in just a few moments. We're going to replay all of the wonderful footage, all of these incredible stories that we've been viewing so far. We want you to log on, view anything that you happen to miss, and let's fill this map over the next 24 hours. We're going to launch this at 7 a.m. tomorrow to see exactly who has logged on and where's that activity as we proceed in the next 24 hours. So let's fill this map. Let's share with the world the strength of the Notre Dame family, and let's share the love of the Notre Dame family for the variety of stories that we've been through tonight and that we will have the great privilege of experiencing tomorrow. Live from La Fortune, where quarter dogs are being served, it's been a real pleasure to be with the Notre Dame family this evening. We look forward to seeing you 7 a.m. bright and early back here for Notre Dame Day 2015.